Hello, welcome back to Real Opinions. Today's review is of Disney's 2016 reimagining of their classic animated musical film, The Jungle Book. Directed by Jon Favreau of Iron Man and Swingers and Friends and other film fame. The film is basically a retread of the one we already saw 50 years ago. Stars this young boy called Neil Sethi as a young boy called Mowgli, who is orphaned at a young age and raised by wolves in the jungles of India, and he comes to kind of become friends with all of the animals until he is one day chased away by an angry tiger called Shere Khan, and he's forced to find his own way in the jungle, and he meets a bear and an orangutan and a snake, and lots of kiddie adventure stuff happens. But the twist here is that this film is actually really, really good. I didn't have particularly high hopes for this film. I'm a huge fan of the Disney classic, the original. If you guys go back and watch our original top Disney movies, I believe I talk about the Jungle Book in there. And the trailers for this really didn't grab me. Jon Favreau's gone for kind of a very realistic animated look. They're no longer 2D cartoons, obviously. They're kind of a mixture of 3D CGI animation and motion capture. And they look really, really good. Although in the trailers they seem to be going for this really kind of dark tone, and every now and again the voices would be quite light, and I was very worried about the tonal clashes. But I'm very, very pleased to say that I was completely wrong. Jon Favreau's The Jungle Book is just a total blast from the beginning to the end. As of the first 5 seconds of this film, I was totally gripped. The world that they kind of drag you into is so immersive, so incredibly put together. The tone is like instantly there. It's not dark and seedy at all. It's very kind of upbeat, very almost childish at times, but still kind of quite grounded. Basically, you feel like you're watching these animals and this kid run around a real jungle. This was filmed entirely on sound stages with people in funny suits, and you'd never imagine that for even a second. The effects are incredible. There's none of that kind of uncanny valley stuff where you're kind of looking into the eyes of these creatures and feeling very uncomfortable because they don't seem real. You genuinely believe they're real, not only animals, but real characters as well. The voice acting's really on point, the animation's really on point, everything from their movements to their speech to their dialogue, the way Mowgli interacts with them, the chemistry between them. You'd never know that he was in a different room to any of them, or that he wasn't really acting against real animals. It's such proof, a real kind of incredible way of seeing how far technology and cinema has come now, and the lengths that we've gone to make these films feel so realistic and immersive. And I mean, effects are one thing, but the story here is really great as well. There's nothing too explosive or over the top, or they don't try and kind of rejig the story in any way. Some people might be a bit annoyed that this is just kind of a relatively similar retread of the original, but as Alice in Wonderland showed us, the Tim Burton one, when you start messing around with stuff, it gets very messy very quickly. And this, they kind of stick with quite a basic story, but it's one that really, really works. The emotions are there. There's a lot of different genres blended in here, everything from kind of horror to comedy to the whole kind of classic action adventure story. And they all work so well together. Jon Favreau's made this film, it's kind of a melting pot of all these different emotions, all these different ideas, but they all streamline together so well. It's so rare to see a film that you can pick very few bad things from, but this really is one of them. I can't think of many things in this film that didn't work for me. As I say though, I can't think of many things in this film that didn't work for me. There were a few. On the most part, the voice acting's really, really great. Bill Murray, especially as Baloo, is inspired casting, but Idris Elba plays Shere Khan, the villain, and he's a little bit too standard Idris Elba. There's nothing kind of there beyond. It sounds like he just kind of walked into a booth, said some lines and left. It doesn't really feel like there's much effort there. It picks up a bit towards the end, but especially at the beginning you don't really feel like he's as menacing as he could be, especially considering he is kind of the film's only real villain. Scarlett Johansson's pretty great as the snake Car. She's quite menacing as well, a lot more menacing than Shere Khan is anyway, but she only shows up for one brief scene. I feel like she could have maybe been in it more, but I guess that's not really her role. And then the only other thing I want to mention, really, is the music. Score-wise, the music's incredible here. Like, it blends together some of the original music in with this kind of new, more epic feel really, really well. For the most part, it drops the songs. There are 2 songs in this film. The Bare Necessities, which works. It's the classic Jungle Book song, and in this film it does work. The point where they show it's kind of a montage and it's Bill Murray singing it is very sprightly and happy, and it just feels like it works in that scene. The other song they include is King Louie's song, which has a bit of a problem. King Louie is the orangutan, the king of the swingers in the original film. Here he is not, he looks like an orangutan, but he's not an orangutan. We've got into trouble for calling him an orangutan. He's actually some kind of ancient breed of orangutan who's like huge, he's like gigantic. And he is still king of the monkeys, etc. Voiced by Christopher Walken, who's just inspired casting. He's really, really great in this. And he kind of plays him almost as this semi-Italian American kind of mob boss type, which works until he starts singing. It's kind of a bit weird. They don't really need the song in it. They play the full version of the song over the end credits and have kind of a cute little animation, and that works a lot better. But in the film, in the actual sequence, it kind of pulls back some of the tension a little bit, and it feels like it's supposed to be kind of an almost scary moment in the film, and it kind of drags it down a little bit. It's one of the few times when the Bare Necessities is played, it's diegetic, they're singing it to each other, and it's kind of a fun little happy song. The King Louie song, it just comes out of nowhere. It's just a classic musical, oh, I'm going to start singing for no reason and no one's going to notice the fact that I'm singing. It doesn't really work, it clashes with too much of the rest of it. Having said that though, the film on the whole is tremendous. It's a lot of fun for kids, for adults. For kids, they'll be amazed by just the story itself and the spectacle of it all. For adults, they'll be amazed by how far technology has come, and just in general the voice talent on show. It's really, really incredible to watch. So, The Jungle Book gets a 9 out of 10. I never thought I'd say that ever, but there you go. Thanks for watching. Look out for more videos in the future, and goodbye.